So hello and good evening, everybody. My name is Eric Rusiewicz, and I'm the Career Advisor here at East Stroudsburg University in the Office of Career and Workforce Development. So show of hands, how many of you have heard of us? How many of you have stopped by our office or benefited from our services in one way, shape, or form? Yeah, there's a couple of you that I recognize. So hello, it's good to see you again. For those of you who have not come by yet, stop on by. We're not scary. We do our best to meet you where you're at, wherever. If you don't have a resume and you need help creating one, or if you have a sound resume and you're just looking for opportunities and you don't know where to start, wherever you're at the beginning or end of your academic journey, we're here to help you out. So today we're going to be covering interviewing, networking, and job/internship searching. Job and internship searching are very parallel to each other. So it's going to be a lot of the same strategies. So a lot of things to keep in mind. We always say that finding a job or an internship can become a full-time job in and of itself. It's a lot of document reviewing, right? Getting your resumes reviewed and on point. Crafting cover letters that are specific and custom to that organization, that industry, etc. The market is back. A few years ago, we had the COVID pandemic, and there was an abundance of furloughs, layoffs, shutdowns, right? We're coming back from that. So right now, it's a very fertile time, a very good time to start looking for these opportunities. Yeah, come on in. Grab a snack. Yeah, help yourselves. So the market is back. So it's a good time to start searching. So this is actually kind of an opportune moment. To have this type of a workshop or a presentation. Show of hands, how many of you are going into that market, that job or internship searching time period? A couple of you, 3 or 4, perfect. Have the rest of you, anybody completed an internship that's not on the panel tonight? Okay, all right, so then there's going to be some information for gearing up. So of course, when we start talking about looking for these opportunities, we were starting off by talking about LinkedIn and this thing called Handshake that I'll get to in a little bit here. These are professional social media platforms, professional social media networks. We always say that the who you know becomes very important, so make your net work. If I don't tell my advisor, if I don't tell my professor, if I don't tell my peers that I'm looking for an opportunity, how are they going to know? How can they help me, right? So it kind of goes back to that old, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? If I make some noise, if I tell people I'm looking for an opportunity, they know to help me out. You have an abundance of peers here, of course, your academic professors, and you also have career professionals, myself and the director of our office. We're certified career counselors, so we can help you identify opportunities and start connecting with these professionals. Interviews, I think we all know the structure of interviews. They've changed a little bit since the pandemic. We have in-person interviews, of course. They could be one-on-one, one person, the hiring manager or supervisor interviewing us. It could be a panel, 2 or 3 or 4 individuals or even more. A group style interview, right, where we have multiple candidates and multiple interviewers at a time. There's phone interviews. There's now Zoom interviews. Typically, especially now, since we're sort of figuring out how to navigate social interactions post-pandemic, the first time interview will very often be a phone screening or a Zoom call to sort of get that background biographical information before the employer decides, yes, we're going to move forward with this person. We'd love to bring you in and meet in person. No matter what type of interview it is, whether it's over the phone, whether it's over Zoom, whether it's in person, you want to be prepared. You want to look the part. You want to dress professionally based on the industry needs, which will, of course, change, right? Depending on if we're going into business or if we're going to be in a lab setting. If you're not sure of dress style or professional attire, talk to us. We have students come by all the time that say, hey, I have an interview in 2 hours. I got to get there. How does this look? And we'll tell them, yeah, you know what, you look great. Or, hey, you know what, maybe we'll do a tie, send them on over to Top Threads here and get a tie or something. So stop on by. We really try to do a good job of, like I said, meeting you where you're at and guiding you to the resources. Excuse me. So of course, an interview is also where the expectations are going to be set for the role. So make sure you go with questions. A great interview question to ask at the end when they say, do you have any questions for us? Don't say no, right? Because they want you to interview them back. Say, yeah, what are the expectations if they weren't laid out clearly in the job description and if they weren't addressed already? Ask about those things. Ask about opportunities for career advancement. Ask about full-time opportunities at the end of your internships. Very often, that internship opportunity will lead to a job offer. So what are they looking for? Well, they're looking for individuals like you, especially at the internship level. You're a student in an academic program that is focused on their core industry area. So all of the information that they want you to sort of be aware of or to know, it's fresh in your mind. You're learning it right here, right now, right? So you want to be able to articulate these skill sets that you have. You want to be able to articulate that. If you're asked, well, why should we pick you versus why should we pick another student from another institution? You have more skill sets than sort of the, I'm going to use the term soft skills because they're kind of I don't want to say throwaway, but they're very frequently used. I'm an effective communicator. I'm punctual. I'm organized. To that I say, prove it, right? Each of those things, you can't really say, here's my certificate of perfect attendance from grade school. You can, but I don't know that that's going to go over well in an interview, right? It's one of those things that you have to show them. So start thinking about the other skill sets that you're developing and learning now and start wordsmithing them, I would call it. Wordsmithing them so that you can convey your skill set to the employer. Okay. Another industry trend is, of course, going to be a vision for technology. So regardless of industry, especially coming out of the COVID pandemic, there's an increase in technology use, whether it's education or counseling, or of course, the sciences, right? So when we start to talk to people, imagine right here, right now, that I'm the CEO of, what's your major?
Biology.
Biology. Where do you want to work?
Pharmaceuticals.
Okay, perfect. I'm the CEO of Merck. Okay. And you just walked in from the parking lot and we're getting on the elevator together now, right? In about 1 minute, how do we condense our lives, our academic achievements, our experiences, our places of work, our skill set? How do we condense all of that in a 1 minute presentation to really wow somebody and get that job or get that interview, right? Utilize the past, present, future model. And again, wordsmithing this with a friend, a colleague, or one of us in the Career Development Center, or your academic advisors and professors, it's going to help you leaps and bounds. So that past, present, future model. Well, currently, I'm a biology major at East Stroudsburg University. I really have always wanted to work for Merck since I was 5 years old. And since I've moved to this area, right? So you start to paint that picture. Start with the background, the past, what kind of led you to this career path, your why I want to work in this field. Presently, I'm interning at Sanofi Pasteur, and I'm in the vaccines department, vaccinations department. And I never realized how much I love medicine, right? So you can start to paint that picture. Now, I don't know if you interned at Sanofi or not. Well, there you go, see, right? So I'm kind of making it up on the fly now, but soundboard with somebody. A lot of the time when we say something out loud, it resonates with us a little differently, right? We can come into something thinking that we're fully prepared, and when we say it, we're like, oh my gosh, that was kind of word vomit. That didn't sound coherent at all. So practice. Practice makes perfect. We always say interviewers will always know who has practiced their interviewing and who hasn't. So practice now. Practice with us while you have the resource. Practice with your professors while you have the resource. You have a little bit of time. And of course, in our end of things, we're always flexible. We're able to meet you, even outside of your, your 8 to 4 schedule, if need be. And of course, focusing on that future. So that's your connection right there. So you start out with where you came from, what you're looking for, what you're doing, and why you want to be at this organization or why you want to be this role. Does that make sense? Preparing for an interview, you always want to be prepared, right? That 5 Ps. Perfect planning prevents poor performance, if you've never heard that before. And it's true. Practice, rehearse. Come and meet with us, do mock interviewing. We have a platform called Big Interview that you can practice interviewing responses with a virtual interviewer and watch your own responses back. It's really cool. And you'll learn a lot about yourself, how you come off your nonverbals. It's really fun. It's really cool. I know it sounds so much fun, but it really is. Students have a lot of fun doing them. Do research on the organization. If you do a little bit of web-based behind-the-scenes research on a facility, an organization, etc., before you get there for the interview, the interviewer is going to say, wow, this individual knows who we are, they know our product, they know our clientele, everything is lining up for them to be the perfect candidate for this role, okay? Of course, do the other preparation as well. Make sure that your voicemail is set up in case you get that call after an interview. I can't tell you how many times I've tried, and this is a true story, I've tried to call individuals for either interviews or to come back in for a job offer. And if they don't have the voicemail set up, there's not much I can do beyond that, right? You can send an email to have them call us, but really that's not really the etiquette for it. So make sure that you have a voicemail box that is clear, a voicemail box that is set up and professional sounding. So call it. Make sure that you're saying your full name and inviting them to leave a message for you. If you have an interview coming up and it's a virtual or a phone interview, go to wherever you plan on having that interview and make sure that you have good Wi-Fi connection. Call your friend, Zoom your friend, FaceTime your mom, whatever it is, and make sure that you're not going to lose service and that they can hear and see you crystal clear. Getting to know ourselves. So this is a free assessment. You can take it if you would like. We always encourage students to take it. It's a personality assessment. If you've ever heard of the MBTI, the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, it's probably it's the most utilized personality assessment. It's been in place since the 1970s, so we know there is reliability and validity to this assessment. And essentially, as reductive as this might sound, everybody on Earth falls into one of 16 different personality types. I'm an ENFJ, I'm a protagonist here, right? Doesn't it look just like me? So, getting to know ourselves, when we take the personality assessment, it tells us all about ourselves. It tells us common strengths and weaknesses for individuals with our personality type. It tells us workplace habits. It tells us even career paths. Did you know that one of the biggest and best metrics of success in a given career path or industry is actually your personality? Makes sense, doesn't it, right? Somebody that might be a little more prone to stress and might not do well under crisis situations. Do we think that they might have the personality to be an OR doctor, an OR surgeon? Probably not, right? So it boils down to personality a lot of the time. But, of course, can we learn skill sets? Absolutely. I highly encourage you to take 16 personalities. It takes about 10 minutes. It's free. Your results will literally never change. Every time I've ever taken this assessment, I've always had the same results. But we can actually draw from the 16 personality results to convey our strengths, to convey our qualities, and help craft some of those interview responses. And of course, again, we can always help you with that if you are having trouble. I'm not going to cover too much of a tire because, again, it's always industry. It varies depending on the industry, right? So, for example, what might work well in a tire at Sanofi might be a totally different expectation in Merck, right? For any type of interview that you might have or networking opportunity, come and see us, or feel free to stop in and ask about appropriate attire based off of whatever the event might be. We'll help you out with that, okay? Of course, anytime, just as a basic rule of thumb, we always say business casual at the very least. So like your polo, slacks, khakis, etc., skirts or blouses. Phone interviews, I already covered. Make sure that you're in a place with a strong signal. Make sure that your voicemail box is set up. make sure that when you call somebody that they can hear you and that it's not staticky or echoey. I know here in the Poconos, cellular service is often fun, right? So make sure to go over that, those, and also review your interview responses. Even if you don't use Big Interview, even if you don't meet with us for mock interviewing or interview prep, that's okay. Practice with somebody else. Practice with a friend, a family member, a colleague, a professor, whoever, because again, it really does matter, and they will give you true and honest feedback. You might not always like it. You might not even like the feedback that I give you, but it will pay off in the long run. We already covered the virtual interviews as well. I'm going to skip over this one. These are some common interview questions. Now, I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole with questions, but let me ask you, if anyone has any examples in mind, what is a common interview question that gives you anxiety? Anybody have one in mind? Yeah, go ahead.
Describe the biggest problem you've had in your life and how you solved it.
Excellent. Problem solving. Okay. So that's an interesting one. That's actually a behavioral or a situational question. So for that one, we would prescribe the STAR method, STAR. Give the situation, describe the task at hand, the action that you took, and what was the result? STAR. And of course, anytime, again, we can help you to craft an answer specific to that question. At a certain point, anybody in here ever been in a play or anything of that nature? Had to memorize lines or anything? Yeah. Did you go up there without a script your first time and nail every line?
No,
No, you had to rehearse, right? Yeah. And did you get it?
eventually.
Exactly, eventually. Same thing. We are the experts on ourselves. We know all of the answers about us. Sometimes it's just in crafting them, right? And if we rehearse and rehearse and rehearse, and we get a really well-rounded interview response, memory recall, we're going to be able to draw that right in the interview without skipping a beat. And it's going to come off very casual, very conversational. Any other interview questions that kind of cause anxiety? I always love interviewing. I know I'm kind of a freak of nature in that sense, but interviewing is actually one of my favorite things. If you are ever anxious or concerned about interviewing, go to our webpage, Career Development, and use Big Interview, or go to Handshake and request interview preparation with us. Yeah, go ahead.
What about the question, tell me a time you had a conflict with a superior, how do you solve that?
Oh, that's a great one because it's a trick, right? It's kind of a trapdoor question. They want you to go negative. Tell me about a time that you had difficulty working with a supervisor. If you say, yeah, you know what? When I was working at the Planetarium Museum, Kathy, she's just, man, she had these high expectations. And if you go negative, my thought as the interviewer is, wow, it doesn't sound like they liked that experience. It doesn't sound like they really problem solved there. If they're saying this about this person, Kathy, what are they going to say about me one day if I give them the job? Always stay positive. If you have a real life example to draw from, always do so. Even if it's a peer-to-peer, right? Even if it was a group leader in a class assignment. And of course, we can help you to craft the intricacies of the answer. But for something like that, STAR method, again, situation, task, action, and result works well, but staying positive because they want to hear you verbally articulate your conflict resolution and problem solving in that question. Does that make sense? Good question. Great question. Any others before we go to the next slide? Like I said, I love interviewing, so don't be shy. Behavior-based questions. We already covered it with your question there, but again, a story to illustrate how you've behaved in the past, because as we know, the best indicator of future behavior is past behavior, right? So if you can, again, tell us how you've resolved conflict or how you've problem solved in real life past examples, well, shoot, he can do that here. And he stay positive about it. I like that. I like a positive environment in our work. Yeah, let's call this person. Let's give him the job, right? So STAR, situation. Describe the situation to give that background of it. The task. Describe the task at hand, what you actually had to go about doing. A, the action, how you utilize those skills, how you utilize your knowledge of the subject matter to problem solve and result. After I did that, this happened. and everything was great, right? If you use the STAR method, your interview response will be tight around 1.5 to 2 minutes. And that's a good length of time for an interview response. You don't want to give too much information that they can't stick with your story. And you don't want to be too short that they're like, well, that didn't really answer the question. So about a minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes in length, okay? Questions to ask. As I said, always go to an interview with questions to ask because they want you to interview them back. So these are some good questions to ask. I also like to ask, or always encourage students to ask, what opportunities for career growth or development exist here? Are there opportunities for mentorship? Is there anything from my, based on the interview, is there anything that you're looking for in this candidate that you're not seeing from me? That's a good one because then they can say, yeah, you know what? You had all these qualities, but we were hoping that you had maybe more leadership or maybe more of this. And that allows you the opportunity to disarm them. If you do have leadership or if you do have that skill set, you can say, oh, you know what? That's a good point. I actually was the president of Alpha 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 fraternity at ESU, and it's not on my resume, but I'll have to add that on there. Thank you. That's a good point, right? So you can kind of disarm any concerns that they have right then and there in the interview. After your interview, send a thank you. It doesn't have to be a real legitimate paper note, but there is something to it. I have in my I know this is kind of nerdy and Kathy's gonna laugh at me, but in my top desk drawer, I have all of the paper thank you cards that I've ever received from a student or a client or somebody that I've interviewed for a position. I think this kind of, for me, maybe I'm sentimental and emotional, but that's okay. I always suggest sending a thank you, even if it is an email, but you just want to sound excited for the opportunity and grateful that you were called in for an interview in the first place, okay? It's just good practice. It's good interviewing etiquette. Mention that position again so that they remember exactly what it was that you were interested in, and always end with that excited sense. So I'd love to hear from you in the future, even if I don't get it, right? I'd love to talk about other opportunities in the future, whatever it might be. As I mentioned, if you're getting ready for big interview, or for an interview, use Big Interview, esubiginterview.com. That's the web link for it. But again, if you go right to our career development webpage at ESU on our site, there is both a tile for interviewing that you click and it'll take you right to Big Interview, or there's a little gray button that says Big Interview. Either one of them, you click it, it'll take you right to the window. You can log in. You can go to the question library and sort by which questions you want to be asked so you can be prepared for those. You can start off with the general one, which covers 80% of interview questions that you're likely to get asked. You can go industry specific. You can go by government, military, whatever. Graduate school admissions. It can be really customized. If you really don't feel that you need that, you can do 1 or 2. If you really feel you need the help, you can pick 115 different questions. But practice. If there's one thing that I can impress upon you, it's practice, okay? Ways to approach your job search. I know that I briefly mentioned LinkedIn in the beginning. LinkedIn is one of the top platforms for not only networking and then connecting with professionals out there. You can also follow organizations. You can follow Merck, you can follow Sanofi, you can follow LVHN. Follow companies because you can apply for jobs right on there. In addition, the #1 platform for current students, soon-to-be graduates, and recent graduates is this thing called Handshake. Second bullet. Again, if you go right to our career development webpage, right at the top, red button that says Handshake, and you all, I know it, I'm going to ask it, there's not going to be many hands. How many of you get an email from Handshake? You all do. Everyone gets an email from Handshake. We send them out. All of you get an email because all of you have a Handshake account already. It's built into your tuition dollars. You're paying for it. Utilize it. It is the #1 platform for employers to get in contact with people sitting in the seats that you're in right now. They're looking for you. You get your resume on there. You can have the field set to open too, so that when these jobs come up that are, yeah, you flag pharmaceuticals or organismal biology, whatever it might be, and you'll start getting notifications. Hey, 3 new jobs just got uploaded that you should apply for. and you can apply right on Handshake. If you're ever looking to do a deep dive in Handshake, or if you're like, I'm not tech savvy, I need someone to walk me through it, by all means, come and see us. We happily walk students and staff through Handshake every single day. Again, you pay for it, so utilize it. There are opportunities out there, more opportunities out there for college students than you will find on a platform like Indeed or Glassdoor or any of those, okay? They're specific to college students. So these companies want you, literally. Steps to maximizing your job searching. Here's the trick to it. And I know I said at the beginning, treat it like it's your job. Treat getting an interview like that's what you're getting paid to do. I know you're not, but pretend that you are. Thank you. Pretend that you are, okay? Complete your profile. As much as I say, you can go on there and do this if you want. You should kind of want it a little bit, right? Because as much as the platform exists, if you don't have your resume on there, the employers can't necessarily see your experience. Apply directly through it. I was even with an alumni today that I was helping to apply for things, and we were applying directly on Handshake. It's your one-stop shop. I cannot impress that enough.
Eric?
Yeah.
Is the resume visible to anybody on Handshake, or can you choose who sees it?
You can choose. If you want it to be visible to anybody and everybody, recruiters that are on it. Now, keep in mind that when I say that, it is a caveat. No one will see your profile. Like, for example, if I'm on there as a student and Kathy's on there as a student, I can't go and see Kathy's profile. If I'm an employer and Kathy has it open that I'm able to see her profile, I can go in and see it, okay? So the only staff or faculty that will see a student's are going to be us in the Career Development Center. Student to student, you're not going to see each other's profiles like that. It's not really a social media of that nature. It's kind of like having a profile on a job searching platform, right? Just not one like a LinkedIn where you can go and connect with people. But great question. Yeah, you can set it to be visible. You can set it to be visible only to recruiters. You can set it to be visible only to staff, etc. Okay. Any other questions about Handshake? Right. Yeah, if there's questions throughout, kind of flag me on down. I know we're kind of nearing the end of my section here. Again, make your network. Tell people. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your peers in classes, tell your professors, tell everyone. Because again, if you're looking for employment, you want as many people to know as possible. There is strength in numbers. There's power in connections. So start making those connections now. Follow those companies on LinkedIn. Seriously, because even if Merck doesn't have any jobs right now, guess what? A new month starts in a couple days, right? And another month starts after that, and another after that. New jobs are getting posted every day, every week, every month, every year. So follow them. And if you set your settings on LinkedIn to open to and a special interest in these companies, you'll start getting those notifications to apply for these jobs. These opportunities, I should say. Final thoughts. Treat your search like a job. Give yourself start and end times. Even if you only want to dedicate 3 hours or 2 hours or however many hours a day to it, that's fine. Schedule your tasks day by day. Keep organized about it. So if it's meeting with us to get your ducks in a row, your documents on point before you're applying, if it's getting that interview preparation in, make sure that you're meeting these goals. Share your progress. That's a good one of the good facets of LinkedIn. You can post on there and say, I'm looking for an internship. And guess what, everyone? I found an internship, right? So you can share and kind of keep the word going throughout your search. Be open to helping others, right? So people like to help people. Again, make your network. Your connections are out there. They want to connect with you. That's why they're on LinkedIn. That's why, that's why your faculty members have become faculty. That's why we became career counselors. We want to help you get to your vocational goals. Always remain positive. Just like I said earlier with the negative questions, always be positive and create those goals. Having benchmarks gives us a sense of satisfaction. So instead of having that feeling of hopelessness, I've been applying for a couple of weeks and I haven't heard anything. Give yourself realistic goals so that you know. It's not that I'm not doing anything. It's not that I'm not getting anything accomplished. It's just I'm making progress just on a different scale. Any questions for me? Yeah.
Eric, could you say something about the timing? I was once talking to a student who was graduating. He hadn't done any interviewing or any applications because he thought he needed to wait till he was ready to start tomorrow.
Yeah,
Because fast food jobs are like that, right? They
Right.
need you tomorrow.
that's right. No, that's a very good question. Thank you for that. We actually in our office have what we call the 4-year plan. We would recommend stopping in at least once a year, each of your academic years. You want to stop in once a semester? Perfect. You want to stop in once a week? Excellent, we'll see you. You want to stop in once a day? All right, maybe that's a bit too much, but we'll still work with you. We would never turn you away. Come in and see us frequently, I should say. Oh my gosh. Come in and see us frequently just to make sure that everything is good to go, because the last thing you want to do is wait until your senior year and say, yes, I need an internship for credit yesterday, because we're not going to have that for you. Internships exist and they're out there, but not ones in the past, right? So I would say if it is a 4-credit internship, of course, you always have to work with your academic advisors, your academic faculty for those 4-credit internships. If you don't need a credit internship or it is a 4-credit, but you also want our help with the search, by all means, stop in and see us. Depending on your academic program and depending on, kind of where you're at, typically you want to start searching for your internship a semester ahead of time. So if you're starting in the fall semester of your junior year, that winter, springtime of your sophomore year, you should already be meeting with us and looking and making sure that your documents are on point. Because they're going to want to have that internship position filled by the summer, so that you can roll on in any trainings, orientation over the summer and start fresh in the fall. Great question. Any other questions?
How should you go about when you have, a bunch of different jobs you apply to and you kind of have a ranking of which ones you like better? How should you go about it when you get like your third option you have an offer from, and then the timelines don't work out for when you would get an offer from your best option?
If I'm understanding your question correctly, so you're saying you're waiting for the one that you really want, but you're getting offers to come in already?
Like, yeah, like I have an offer right now for that like expires on Friday, but like
Okay.
there's a better offer that I'm waiting for that I'm kind of chasing, and I'm not sure I'm doing the right thing.
I would say at this point, it's better to sort of have that internship opportunity locked in and know that you've got one, as opposed to waiting and potentially having none, right? So if you wait past Friday and then you don't get the one that you really wanted, and this one says, dude, you didn't let us know, then you got 0. Right now you've got 1. So it's okay to accept the position. And let's say in a week or two, the place that you really want gets back to you and says, yes, you're it, we want it. You're gonna have to kind of weigh your values and weigh, your options if it's viable. And it's okay to say, I was gonna take on this internship, but I got this offer. I'm thinking that this is gonna be a better opportunity for me. Ultimately, you want a place, regardless of if it's an internship or a job, you want an organization that believes in you and wants what's best for you. You want an organizational culture that supports your career development and wants you to be in a place that you're going to be happy. So if somebody were to get upset or berate you for you said you were gonna be our intern and now a week later you're not, perhaps you don't want to work for an individual or an organization with that type of temperament, right?
Mhm.
So that's kind of my perspective, but that is tricky. That is what I would say with kind of the information I have on hand at this point.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, of course.
Just feeding off that, would you suggest contacting the second employer or internship grantor and just saying, hey, I have this other offer. Can you tell me
Absolutely.
anything about my status?
Absolutely, yeah. I always encourage the follow-up. So did you follow up after the interview with the place that you really want to say, thank you so much for?
So yeah, I sent a thank you email to each interviewer because there were 4 of them, but
Excellent.
I have 2 weeks until like they said they're going to let me know, but yet the offer the other one expires on Friday, so like I still have until next Thursday to hear back from the other one.
Gotcha. So they do have a deadline in place. Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, in cases where I would stick to my original answer for that still, right? But I would, if you had not gotten a, yes, we're looking to make a decision by X date, then yes, it's always safe to follow up, you know. Heck, I followed up for this job that I have here now. It's true. I did. I emailed Bree and was like, hey, I just wanted to follow, right? It's okay. It shows that we're interested. It shows that we're effective communicators. It shows that we're not afraid to kind of go for what we want. Just be willing to kind of, you know, have that thick skin about it, you know, if you're not chosen or if you were, you know, told, you know, yeah, we're gonna get back to you, you know, on this date, and you know, you don't get any response, and you send a follow-up email and there's no response, it's okay, maybe that wasn't it, okay? You kind of have to move forward. There's nothing, you know, nothing more at that point that you want to keep investing into. So 1 or 2 follow-ups is good, but beyond that, you don't want to annoy or you know, kind of keep popping up in your inbox, okay?
Yeah.
Great question. Any other questions? Good deal. Anything in the chat from anybody on Zoom? Any questions at this time?
There's one in the chat, one message.
That should be my posting for the questions. in the chat.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you for doing that. Okay. Let me just check. It probably is. It is. Here's my contact information. Again, if you need anything, my contact information is on our career development webpage, as is the Handshake platform. Click right on that button or go into your email. Any email that you got from Handshake will have a button to go to your account, your profile. Click that and follow it. Set it up. It takes 2 seconds, and it can potentially make the difference between internship and job versus still searching. Okay. Well, I thank you for your attention and participation throughout. And now we're going to go ahead and open it on up for our student intern panelists. So if you are one of the panelists, if you could come on up to the front here. I'm actually going to turn the lights back on to give us a little bit of visibility. Six, seven, okay. Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
The little box on the right, the separate little.
The Crestron you're talking? There we go. Now it's on. Okay. Yes, sorry. Yes, yep, all of the panelists are in view. And actually, let me stop screen sharing with them. Oh my. Escape.
Go back up.
It's not a, there we go. I was trying to get out of the PowerPoint here. All right, perfect. There we go. And we have our panelists up. So I'll kind of stay up here and monitor the chat and the Q&A. So please, why don't we start off? We'll give an introduction, state your name, your academic program, where you did your internship, and any major you know, points that you'd like to kind of share with the audience. Not everyone at once.
I'll start.
Yeah, there we go.
My name is Jada Maloney. I went here at ESU. I was a physics major. I did my internship at Weiler Abrasives. The biggest point that I would say to share is that start looking for internships like early. As you said, like a semester before, that was like my problem. I started really late. So I technically graduated and then I did my internship. So try to get in there early.
That's great advice.
My name is Morgan. I did my internship at the DoD this summer. What else was I supposed to say?
What would you kind of recommend to any of your peers that are looking for internships, or what was your
I don't
biggest
know. I
takeaway?
got mine through a scholarship.
Oh, very nice. Why don't you tell everyone, what's the DoD?
The Department of Defense.
And what were you doing?
I can't tell you.
Oh my, she pulled the G. Oh, and we got this one as a panelist? She can't tell? No, it's all right. No, but that's really cool. That's awesome. G13 classified and everything locked up. You had ocular, you know, eye scanner to get into places?
No, but I have a CAT card.
Ah, okay. That's pretty neat.
Mhm.
Awesome. Thank you.
What's your major?
Computer security.
Do you want to mention also you're the president of the Women for STEM Club, right?
Yes. Yeah, women in STEM and supporters.
Okay, do
Excellent,
you want to talk
excellent.
about that a little bit?
We're a support group for women in STEM. We accept men.
So it's a good title.
It's for guys and girls. The guys who come, we don't mind if you're a guy, but please support the girls. And we're working on just being, like, we don't want to be CSO, which is the computer science organization, which is awesome. But we wanted to have every STEM major. So it's like if you're into engineering or math or marine biology, she's our secretary. We want you to come and just help support it because there are scholarships for women in STEM. And well, why don't we just have a group for it too? That way people who don't know about it can get it or apply for it.
Because I
Excellent.
don't know about it at all.
Is it on Warrior Link?
We're working on getting it there.
Okay.
We're close. Our advisor has to help us finish the paperwork.
Thank you.
All right, my name's also Morgan. I'm a rising junior here at ESU and I'm an environmental studies major with a studio art minor. I had my internship at Sherwood Island State Park in Connecticut. Because I'm from Connecticut, so I live here on campus and I helped run like the nature center there. Advice: recruit your parents to look for your internships because my mom told me about it. I applied and I got it. So the more people you have looking for stuff, better chances you have.
Making your network work. I love it. Excellent.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Daquan Baker. I'm a senior here at ASU. I'm a biology major and a minor in psychology. Over the summer, I was an intern at Santa Fe Swiss border site. I was a biologics manufacturing intern. While I was there, I did a bunch of like formulation, building for like canisters, like inoculation prep. My biggest advice I would say to be networking. While I was there, I really spoke to a lot of different people. Toured almost every building. They have 79 buildings there, so I was busy. But that's my advice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm Jameson. I'm a senior. I'm a bio major, and I was an intern with St. Luke's PA shadowing program. I guess like my biggest advice would be like to take everything you can and learn from it, and like write notes and all of that, and like build relationships with people, so then you have like connections down the road. I made a lot of connections with doctors and PAs, so that was really cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm Aaron. I'm an economics and applied math major. I'm a senior, and I worked at Allianz Life this summer as an actuarial intern, which if you don't know what that is, it's like risk management for insurance companies. And some advice I give is definitely listen to Eric as far as networking, because I got the internship from this guy's brother. So
Perfect. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm David Walker. I'm majoring in math and computer science. I also did my internship at Allianz Life in Minneapolis. I was an application developer, so more the computer programming side. And the advice I give is like have confidence in your ability, because we're all much more capable than we give ourselves credit for. And when you can see what you do in an internship, you realize that like you're not just the book problems you've been doing, what you've been seeing on campus, but so much more.
Perfect. Thank you. Great. Do we have any questions at this point from the audience for any of our panelists in particular, any in general, anything and everything? And in the chat on Zoom, don't feel shy. You can type those in. I'm monitoring the chat here as well.
If I could make a comment.
Yeah.
Coming from the STEAM side of things, when you mentioned biology and art, be flexible in what you're looking at for your careers too, because it may not just be mainline chemistry or computers or whatever. It could be technical writing, it could be scientific illustration. So I'm all about STEAM, but that's also a great avenue.
Excellent. Great.
Yeah, could I just comment on that?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, you don't have to. You're the panelist. Don't ask me. Yeah.
Yeah, so like that you point that out, that's kind of what I did. So when I was like there, I started looking into like the quality control and like global affairs department. And then once I realized that after I graduated from ESU in the spring, that I wanted to go to business school. So I'm planning to like use like an MBA with my bachelor's in biology to connect it to like leadership on a biology level.
That's awesome. That's great.
this needs to do with the interdisciplinary nature. Computer programming, I traditionally think of like someone has a computing need, maybe someone wants a website built or this or that, but the department I worked for was a special team that worked just for actuaries. So I had to learn a bit of the actuary lingo, their problems, and then apply what I learned to something I wasn't super familiar in. So knowing different stuff, or at least being comfortable learning new stuff is good.
Yeah, always room for growth. That's awesome. Yeah,
Um,
please don't ask me.
well-rounded-
Yeah.
Being well-rounded in general helps a lot because I have like background in art. So for my internship, I made a poster on different species of butterflies that have been sighted in the area. And when I wasn't at my internship at Sherwood Island, I worked at Stu Leonard's, the grocery store. So whenever we had like events with partnering businesses, like Earth Place was a nature center that brought their birds of prey to the nature center at Sherwood Island, and they had a little presentation. They bought refreshments at Stu's where I was making the cookies that they bought and then brought to my internship. So whatever like other interests, they could all tie together with your career.
Absolutely.
I can personally attest, I saw your butterfly display and it's gorgeous. So you could be a, nature illustrator.
That's awesome. Yeah.
All right, so I know you mentioned that you had your internship in Connecticut, and I assume you lived at home,
Yes.
but you were in DC, I assume, with the.
No, Mechanicsburg with the Navy.
Mechanicsburg. Okay, so, but is that where your hometown is, or did you have? to
No,
find an
I live in
apartment?
Northampton. I had to get a dorm room.
Or-
I am never living on a college campus again. I'm sorry, no. I feel bad for anyone who had to dorm on a campus. That was the
Where
worst
did you
experience
guys
of my
live
life.
in the,
We lived in a hotel that Allianz paid for, so it was pretty awesome.
It felt like a dorm, but in a good way. Not in a bad way. So we would like play cards in the lobby, or it was at least nice having knowing like you have rides or if you were bored, don't have something to store.
There were like 27 of us in the hotel, so like you always knew no one was doing anything on the weekends. So you could always hang out with people, or just, everyone always wanted to hang out, so you just text in a group chat. And it was really fun.
So there were students from other schools.
Yeah, a lot of people from like Wisconsin, Michigan, like a lot of the more Midwestern states, but there were some people from, there was someone from Pittsburgh, or like, someone from New Jersey, so it was kind of all over. Someone from Germany, actually. Yeah.
We do have a question in the chat here. It says, Morgan, could you talk about clearances? What did they want and what did you need to do to get it done?
I had to fill out a 500-page clearance paperwork. I had to get notes from doctors because of different things that go on with me. I had to go deeper than some because I got SCI instead of just secret. Or yeah, there's secret, SCI, and then top secret. I got SCI because of what I was going to be doing. After filling out like not 500 pages, but it's close. Okay, like one of the questions is, have you ever participated in a terrorist act against America? I don't know who would honestly answer that or who would get that far. But they went back like 10 years. I had to contact people from where I lived in Jersey, and that was a while ago. So I was like, okay, do I even know this person's phone number? I have to make sure I constantly pay my taxes, and I have to remember to pay my taxes. But it was a lot. And then I had to do like a really long interview over the summer. Not this summer, last summer, because I was stupid the first time I went to college, and I had to be honest about what I was stupid about. So yeah.
Okay.
And then you wait even longer to find out if you even got your clearance. And if you don't get your clearance, they put you somewhere else. But I got my clearance, so that was good. I just now have to never break the law again.
Okay. So a definite clear federal background check and criminal history. Okay. I'm sure fingerprinting as well.
Fingerprinting, everything.
Gotcha.
Like they go deep.
Sure. Oh yes.
I told my mom that she better tell my brother and my dad to lie because those two could lose my clearance.
Sure. So, okay. So a lot of the background interviews, and that is common for what it's worth with a lot of the federal jobs, FBI agents, et cetera, CIA too, interviewing family members for background checks. So good question from the chat.
Jameson, you had your clearances too, to work in a hospital.
Yeah, to do like child experiences,
Mhm.
fingerprinting,
Tuberculosis screening.
tuberculosis.
Oh, yes.
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
Working with minors? Did you?
yes,
Yeah.
yep.
So all in all, I'm going to take a estimated guess. It took probably about a span of 2 weeks, all in all, to get all of your clearances squared away for your internships. So that's a consideration too, between, transitioning into a new job, or it probably longer for you, right? A little bit.
Got it like a year.
Yeah, right. So depending on the nature of it. So typically it is about 2 weeks, you get your fingerprint, clearances back and everything. So figure on roughly 3 weeks or a month before, being officially okay to start a new job or an internship. But that sounds about average. Thank you for the question in the chat. Well, I have a question for the panelists. So if I always sort of tell students that you get to make an informed decision through your internship. That internship is really the place and time that we decide, yes, I want to pursue this career, or no, I need to reevaluate and look at something else. Would you agree with that sentiment? Why or why not?
I would agree 100% with that. I was like fully convinced that like I was like gonna go PA route, and then once I started like shadowing a lot, I started to like second guess if that's really what I wanted to do. Just like with talking with a lot of the doctors, I was like, oh, maybe like med school would be more for me. So I went through like a couple months of like reading articles after like talking to multiple doctors, physician assistants, and like having to like rethink my decisions on like what I really wanted. So it really opened my eyes to like see the reality of the job.
Excellent.
I'd agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted to put me in something to do with coding.
Mm.
Thankfully, I got moved to something to do with networking. I dropped my computer science degree because I have a work requirement for my scholarship. So I will be working there for about 3 years because I'm going to go for my master's in security because I hate coding.
Sure.
I don't know why I even thought like, oh, a dual major would be a good idea. And then I got there and they were like, well, you have a computer science major. And I was like, I'm dropping that.
Yeah.
No offense, David. I just
Not
hate
taken.
coding.
Not taken.
You computer science people are
That's more
crazy.
jobs for me.
There you go. That's a good positive outlook. Like I said, excellent.
But yeah,
Yeah,
it made me change my whole degree.
sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, that for what it's worth, anecdotally from my experience, I hear and see that often. So go ahead. Yeah.
I'll say this, I saw the field that I was in working, so computer science is very theory, you touch on a lot of practical. This was building web applications was what I was doing. I felt two things. One, I really like the field I'm doing, it's right. And two, long term, I still don't fully know, but in the short term, I knew it was for me. So
Perfect.
it kind of gave me an insight onto maybe another direction. I know I'm in the right general direction, but maybe something specific I'd like to explore further.
Excellent. Great. Yeah.
Yeah, I will also agree. I always knew I was interested in medicine, but when I first came to the issue, I was planning to go PA route. Last semester, I was like volunteering in the hospital just to get my foot around. But then once I got offered the internship, worked it over the summer, it was great experience. Like I would never considered vaccine manufacturing at all, but now I'm 100% committed to it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'd like to also add on that. With my degree as physics, I knew I wanted to lean more into engineering with it afterwards, but I didn't know which branch of engineering. So with my internship, it really kind of solidified that I really like machinery and hands-on work. So I'm gonna lean more into that after.
Yeah, making that informed decision, we say. Take the pieces that we like and run with it. take the pieces that we don't like and reconsider where we can put our effort and our energy. So excellent.
Can I add on that?
Absolutely.
I will say also, like, even volunteering or going to community events at the place where you could potentially see a future before you even contact them for an internship is very good, because years ago I did like a bike race with my dad at Shore Island Park, and I always really liked it. And I've done volunteering in the past for aquariums. I even do this police thing on the side because I used to think I wanted to go into law enforcement, and I could possibly see a future going that route, but maybe more on like the wildlife protection agency or something like a conservation officer rather than a police officer, because I did go to like an FBI Academy youth program when I was younger, going into college.
Mhm.
And I did like it, but it was a lot more paperwork than like you see on TV. And
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
I did really like working in the field at this nature center in the summer, and I could potentially see a future working there. I will say, like, it is the field I'm in. Like, I would not want to go the law enforcement route now, but it's still like a backup plan if my future with environmental stuff doesn't work out. But like, always keep your doors open. Don't burn your bridges with people, because you never know who knows somebody too.
Absolutely. Well said. Well said. Well, it's currently 7:28. Do we have any other questions from the audience, from the chat? Yeah, you have one?
I got one,
Mhm.
and I think everyone can answer this pretty quickly. What do you guys think it was worth putting in the amount of work and effort that you've had to? So I'm not sure how long each of your internships lasted for, but do you think the effort and the time that you put into each internship was worth it?
I like that.
I think mine kind of has like a more quantitative part of this, because you could actually like kind of put a number on how long I studied and everything for what I had to do. So like I had to take an actuarial exam to go into my internship. And so it was about 3 months of like hard studying while I was still in school. So it was really hard, but it's like so rewarding, like to study for 3 months, pass something, and then, you know, have the internship waiting for you after that. So definitely worth it.
I wouldn't continue to work during the school year if I didn't actually think it was worth it.
My internship turned into a job, so I'm currently working where I interned, so I'm pretty happy with it.
Good. So unanimous. Internships are good. I like it.
Okay.
Perfect.
My internship turned into a part-time job.
Excellent. Yeah, like I said, very often at the end of that internship or even during, job opportunities arise. So excellent.
Was anybody unpaid?
I was back in the day. I was unpaid.
But
All right.
sometimes the pay doesn't have to be monetary, like in Jameson's case, if you apply to PA school, you've got to have a certain amount of clinical experience hours to even be competitive, so.
Mhm.
That's
And the same with med school, so.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, great. Well, how's about a hand for our panelists here, our wonderful interns?